Hi, this is Matt with AppliancePartsPros.com. Today we'll be showing you how to repair your appliance. Remember, anytime you work on an appliance, make sure it's unplugged or the circuit breakers are off so there's no chance of electrocution. In this video we're going to show you how to change out the inner door glass. It's going to be a very easy repair and should only take a few minutes to show you how to do it. If you already have one of these, great. If not, you can click on the link below or get it at AppliancePartsPros.com. When you open up the package, you're going to get the new inner oven door glass. The main reason you'd be changing out the inner door glass is if it cracked or shattered or became stained with food over the years of use. First, we need to remove the door. In order to get the hinges locked, we have to swivel these little brackets over and into the up position. Once you have the door open to the 45-degree position and locked in place, you can lift the oven door off the body. This repair will be easier if we place the door on a flat surface such as a table. Now that we have the door on the table, we can take it apart and do the repair. In order to take the door apart, we have to remove all the screws that hold it together. Be careful when you're taking it apart. As the screws come out, the doors are probably going to fall apart. You're going to have to remove all 4 screws on the hinges, so later we can remove the inner door liner. And then there's 3 big black screws on each side of the door. Careful when you're taking this top one off, it holds the trim and the handle on. Once these 2 screws have been taken out, the handle and trim assembly can be removed. And there's 1 screw in the middle that has to be taken out. We also have to take the side trim pieces off. You can pop them off with a small screwdriver. They have a couple pins on the bottom that hold them in place. In order to lift the inner door off, we have to kind of push the hinges up and then lift the inner panel up. Once you have it off, there's a couple tabs in the front. You'll have to lift the inner panel off the tabs to remove it and set it aside. Now that we have the inner door panel off, we can remove the inner glass. There's actually 2 of these pieces. The one that sits right on the top. And to get to the lower one, or the middle glass, you have to remove this metal frame and then lift that glass out. These are both the same part number. There's just 2 of them inside the door. Here's the old glass next to the new glass. If you already have one of these, great. If not, you can get it at AppliancePartsPros.com. If you're replacing the middle glass, you need to go ahead and set the glass down onto the frame and then replace the metal frame that holds the inner glass. If you're just replacing the inner glass, then your middle glass and frame should still be there, and you just have to set the inner glass into the frame. Now that we have the glass installed, we can put the inner door panel back on. In order to put the inner door panel back on, we have to put the little tabs into the frame on each side. As you lower this down, you're going to have to push up on the inner panel that holds the glass and the insulation, and make sure that you tuck all your insulation in as you go around, making sure that none hangs off. We can push this inner panel up a little bit so all the insulation is underneath. The reason we removed all the screws on both hinges is because you have to slide both hinges up to replace the inner door liner. And then pull it back down. Then we can put the screws in it. Once you have the inner door liner back in place, you can line up the screw holes and put the screws in. We can also put in the middle screw on the trim piece. Before you put the rest of the door back together, we have to put the side trim pieces in. So what you have to do is press the glass this way so you clear this little edge, and then stick this pin in this hole. You got to kind of rotate it in, and then this locking tab goes in this hole right here. Push the top of the trim into place and hold it, and then slide the glass back over a little bit on this side so we can go put the trim in on the other side. So the trim on this side goes in the same way. Just kind of rotate it in. Put the locking pin here and the locking pin there in the frame. Once you have it in place, you can push the glass back over in the center so it's centered in the middle of the door. We have to put the screws in that hold the door together. When you put the door together, sometimes the screw holes don't line up. So what you have to do is stick your hand in the bottom of the door and press up on that little metal frame that is in the middle. And you can see it's kind of half lined up now. So you just press up a little bit until you can see the screw holes. And then you can put the screws back into the hinges. Alright, we'll do the one on the other side. You may have to get a small screwdriver, kind of stick it in there, pull it over so your holes are lined up. Then you can put the screw in. On these upper screws, sometimes the screw holes, the screws are not long enough to reach them. So if you put your hand inside and push up on that inner metal plate, you'll lift up the screw threads so you can put it in. When you put the handle assembly back on, make sure that the trims are pressed in. They go on the inside of the vent trim. This little slot right here, the glass goes into that, so make sure you line it up and get the glass in there. Once you have the upper trim and handle assembly in place, and each trim is underneath it on each end, you can go ahead and put the screws back in. Now that we have all the screws installed, we can go ahead and put the oven door assembly back on the oven. When you're pushing the hinge in, make sure you push down enough so this little notch in the hinge goes right on this metal bracket. Once you have the door mounted back on the oven, you can go ahead and open it up all the way and rotate these little locking tabs back up into the hinges so they're out of the way. Make sure you do it on both sides. Once you have both locking tabs swung out of the way, you can go ahead and close the door. Now that you're finished repairing your electric range, you can plug it back in and test it out. Thanks for joining us for another successful repair brought to you by AppliancePartsPros.com. Check out our other repair videos on our site, Facebook, and YouTube.